My ambition for this year is reading 52 books in a year. I haven't read a book since Ensa was born, so a little over 2 years. And it's gonna be a challenge, but I think it's gonna be good for me because I've only been flicking through magazines, reading online, but I haven't really picked up a book, had the discipline to finish it in a long time. So the first week of January I've decided to read The Ethical Vegan by Jordi Casamitjana. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. He's Catalan. It's a personal and political journey to change the world. It's a really powerful story about his court case. He is a zoologist and he has an amazing love for animals, just really admirable. As an ethical vegan, he lives his life almost religiously. I think veganism has grown so quickly as a slightly more mainstream movement now, but there's lots of different vegans and he's really able to pinpoint down those different vegans without being condescending. It's really interesting. I would recommend this book. So the way that I've started reading books is building it into a habit, which has been really helpful. So first thing in the morning, I'll have a cup of coffee, I'll have some water, and then I'll sit down and read my book in silence before Ensa wakes up for about an hour, I would say, depending on what time she wakes up. That will give me a little bit of time each day to at least start, have a couple of pages or quite a chunk of the book finished, and then otherwise I read in the evening as well. So when she goes to bed, I'll finish up clearing the dishes, and then I'll read for about half an hour to an hour as well. In the evening I will grab some chamomile tea, I'll put on some classical music, and I'll switch off all of my electronics. Whereas before I used to take my phone into the bedroom a lot. We don't sleep with a phone in our bedroom, but still it's, you know, it's tough not it being the first thing in the morning and then the last thing in the evening that you do. Now I'm trying to replace that by having the book, and then I check all of my emails and messages. I listen to Atomic Habits on Audible, and it's been really useful trying to build that into my habits, and I would definitely recommend listening or reading that book as well. If I compare 30 minutes on my phone to 30 minutes reading, I can just sense that I'm getting really overstimulated by my phone, and I'm actually doing nothing while doing lots on my phone, if that makes sense. Like, you keep switching through different apps, and I don't feel like half an hour on my phone actually gets a lot done. I'm just consuming, but not really retaining the information. Whereas when I'm reading for half an hour, I feel like although I might not retain everything, I try and take notes, which really helps me remember and retain the information. When I started to research which books I wanted to read first, I looked at our own bookshelf first. And this book kind of stood out because it's actually Veganuary. In January there's a big push for veganism and people to try out veganism as a new lifestyle. And I thought this book really resonates with the time. So here's the book. Don't know if you can see. There you are. I've really enjoyed this book. It's an easy read. I know that Jordi's first language is not English, it's Spanish, I believe. And it's a very easy read, although it's very factual, which is good because a lot of factual books can be quite overwhelming, and I think he has a really good sense of direction with the book. It intertwines his court case with factual things about the start of veganism, I would say, throughout history. And his court case was really interesting. You can look that up online too. He has made a big difference in veganism with his court case, so I would definitely recommend looking that up. So I thought I would read you, I've taken notes here and there, but some of my favorite bits. I spent a long time with them away from humans, often having naps with them under the table. I got closer to them than to most people I knew, and they trusted me as one of their own. They kept appearing in my dreams many years after their departure, trying to fill the void they left behind. They were both wolves at heart. I could see it. I could see them trapped in the wrong place, as I felt I also was. I could see their identity being messed up by others, as mine also was. They told me how to handle the situation better than any person has ever taught me. They taught me how to handle people. They taught me how to survive. His connection with animals is just very admirable. He's an amazing person. I think if there was a way of getting an OBE in veganism, he would win it, hands down. He would be knighted for all of the work he's done for the animals, which also had an influence on people. So yeah, definitely would recommend this read. This book is also really interesting because it has a lot of information for new vegans. So although you might consider yourself an ethical vegan, it's really important to see his description of an ethical vegan and all of the things he does and doesn't do to be an ethical vegan. He goes into great detail, which I think is really brave, but also so admirable, because sometimes I have to admit, we buy clementines, and sometimes the only clementines I can find are the ones with wax on them, and I try not to buy them, but every so often I'll buy them because, you know, Elsa loves clementines, and I just consider it to be, oh, it's a fruit, so it's vegan. But this wax is made usually from, I think it's crushed up beetles, shellac. So yeah, so not ethical vegan. And it's really important to know the difference between choosing a vegan lifestyle, choosing a vegan diet, or actually having both and having a vegan ethical lifestyle. I'll leave you with the quote of the week, which is, "There's no such thing as a bad reader, only a person with bad reading habits." Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next week for the next review.